What's going on, everybody? It's the France. I'm waiting for a SmackDown review for July the 3rd, 2020. Happy 4th of July weekend if you celebrate it. If you hear anything in the background, it's because some fucking neighbors are putting off fireworks on the fucking 3rd. God, I fucking hate this shit. I'm all for fireworks when you're in a park or something because that's usually off from where your housing is going to be and everything, but having neighbors get a hold of these fucking things and shoot them off within town kind of gets fucking annoying. So there's that. But tonight was SmackDown. This was advertising Matt Riddle's one-on-one conversation with Michael Cole. God forbid I have to actually listen to Michael Cole ask Matt Riddle why he doesn't wear shoes. And we had AJ Styles defend his title defend the title against one Drew Gulak, which was supposed to happen last week. Unfortunately, the whole outbreak happened, and WWE decided we're going to take this a little bit easier, and we're going to do a tribute to The Undertaker, which is absolutely fine. If they want to do that, then by all means, give a tribute to The Undertaker. He deserves it. He did what he did for 30 years. He deserves one. But we're back to business this week. In this one, we also had the toast to Jeff Hardy we were supposed to have last week. And I'm just going to say it now. They continued this pathetic storyline with Sheamus not being here. Why? Of course, they're still building this thing. It's going to probably be some kind of brawl, which I can honestly see them doing. Because you have the swamp match going on at Extreme Rules, the horror show. I could totally see them getting another cinematic match out of this and giving us a brawl in some kind of bar cinematically between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Where that brawl would be, I don't know. Maybe they'll hire the APA to figure out where they can have the best brawl in a bar, even though most bars in Florida are probably closed right now. So we open the show with Matt Riddle coming out to talk to Michael Cole, and Michael Cole outright asks him, why don't you wear shoes? Why are you wrestling barefoot? So Matt Riddle decides to go, let's go back. Let's have a nice little story time. When he was a kid, he was on vacation in, I believe it was Minneapolis, Minnesota? Was it? Hold on, let me see here. Let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry, Wisconsin. They vacationed in Wisconsin. And he would go outside without shoes on. He would play in the snow. Then he would go inside and play in the pool. He would do this back and forth until one day he stayed outside for a little bit too long. And he was close to losing his feet. His feet were about to get amputated. And I guess he has no feeling in his feet anymore. Did we need to know this? No. Is there one way, how does WWE, Vince McMahon must be just sitting backstage, sitting in his office everybody loves Matt Riddle. Everyone thinks Matt Riddle is the coolest, one of the coolest talents in WWE. How do we embarrass this guy and how do we make this guy so uncool? I got it. He doesn't wear boots. We need a story of why he doesn't wear boots because everybody needs to know why this guy is uncool. This was a waste of time. And then after this story, lo and behold, who would come out? Vince McMahon's favorite enhancement talent, boring enhancement talent, Corbin. Yes, if this motherfucker hasn't realized by now, he is not going to ever be a top star. He is an enhancement talent, is beyond me. He hasn't won a feud. He's not going to win a feud. He's not going to be someone that you can see winning the WWE Championship. That went out the window when he lost the Money in the Bank briefcase in 2017. So, Baron Corbin's pissed off. He sends Michael Cole out of the ring, and then he gets into Matt Riddle's face, and he's pissed off about Matt Riddle joining in on the festivities last week when Matt Riddle hit the floating bro onto Baron Corbin after Baron Corbin was attacked by The New Day, Jeff Hardy, and Braun Strowman. So it's confirmed that these two are going to have a match at Extreme Rules, the horror show, even though it hasn't been completely confirmed. But come on. You have this guy come out here, interrupt Matt Riddle in his conversation with Michael Cole, just to get pissed because you got your ass kicked last week. Why weren't you going after Braun Strowman? Why weren't you going after the New Day? Why weren't you going after Jeff Hardy? Oh no, it's Matt Riddle. Which, by the way, Baron Corbin's not happy he has to do this feud in the first place, and I'm thinking to myself, like, good, you deserve to have this feud happen, and hopefully you lose in a very embarrassing way. And then you just go back to back down the card again and again and again. So Matt Riddle wants to fight. Matt Riddle's like, you know what? Let's go. You want to fight now? You want to talk these? You want to bring these words out? These fighting words? Let's go. And Baron Corbin's like, you have to earn the right to face me. Me, the enhancement talent, who puts everyone else over and gets embarrassed in the end. You have to earn the right to face me, so you're going to face this man. And this man happened to be John Morrison. And this is the start of Matt Riddle on SmackDown. He beat AJ Styles 2 weeks ago, and then he has this match between him and John Morrison taught us a couple things. One, Matt Riddle is as good as anybody else. Two, John Morrison is fucking fantastic, and WWE is underutilizing him. Shit. 3, John Morrison needs to get away from The Miz. The Miz is holding John Morrison back. 4, that John Morrison should, when Bray Wyatt wins the Universal Championship, or whoever beats Bray Wyatt for the Universal Championship, because you know it's coming, John Morrison should be on that list of heels to take on the babyface, probably Roman or whoever else, to possibly win the Universal Championship, because him and Matt Riddle put on one hell of a show. I could not do this match justice. If you want to watch anything, if you're like, oh, is there going to be anything good on SmackDown? This match and the following match were the highlights of this show. The first hour after that opening segment was a damn good first hour. This was, I think, the best first hour of SmackDown this year. Because you had some great wrestling. Then you had the Bayley and Sasha Banks stuff at the end of the hour before we had the next match, which there was only 4 matches on this show. You had these 2 matches, Bayley versus Nikki Cross and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kofi Kingston. That was it. That's all you really needed in a 2-hour show if you do it right. But again, this was a fantastic match. Morrison ends up losing to Matt Riddle. Let me get to the end of the match here. Hold on. Let's see. Now, Baron Corbin and The Miz were out there to try and help Matt Riddle help John Morrison win. Miz gets on the apron, Riddle knocks him off. Corbin jumps on the apron, Riddle goes after him. Morrison rolls up Riddle for a close 2 count. Riddle ends up rolling him up as well and gets a pin and the win. Matt Riddle gets out of the ring, goes back and goes to the back as he celebrates to win. So, like I said, I cannot do this match justice. If you really want to watch something this week and you only have time to watch maybe one match and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to watch one match of WWE this week out of Raw or SmackDown, this is the match to watch. This was by far, the next match was good too, but this was by far the best match on SmackDown, on Raw or SmackDown this week. This is the match of the week for the main roster. Which, again, they need to break up Miz. I actually put it on Twitter that it's like, this match is fantastic. Can someone tell me why Morrison is saddled with a tag team with The Miz? Because they're highly underutilizing him. This guy went to Impact Wrestling, went to Lucha Underground, became a star, became a big fucking deal. Comes back here with all this buzz in the wrestling community, and they saddle him with the tag team of him and Miz. Now, I know it didn't last very long because when Miz got drafted, because they weren't on ECW, and when Miz got drafted to Raw, Miz turned on Morrison, and Morrison went on his own, became ECW champion, so on and so forth. I'm hoping that happens again, but I honestly think Miz could be taken out by Morrison and take a couple weeks off or so just to let Morrison be that heel that he needs to be, especially whenever they get the next big babyface. Because Morrison versus Braun Strowman, I had no desire to see. We already saw that at Backlash. I would rather see somebody else versus John Morrison for the Universal Championship. Or, if you break them up, you put Morrison on Raw. Morrison versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. I would be so for, because I think those two could go out there and give you a 4.5 to 5-star classic for you to watch. After the match, Riddle makes his exit. Intercontinental Champion AJ Styles rushes from behind and attacks him, dropping him. Drew Gulak runs out and attacks AJ. Officials try to break up this chaos as we go to commercial break. Back from break, Sarah Schreiber tries to interview John Morrison, but The Miz cuts him off. King Corbin promises to pull some strings and make sure Matt Riddle's... he cuts the legs out of the career of Matt Riddle before it gets started. AJ Styles versus Drew Gulak, Intercontinental Championship. We go right to the ring, and we have the Intercontinental title match. AJ strikes Gulak to start the match. AJ works Gulak over. He sends him to the floor. AJ keeps control and slams Gulak face first into the apron. AJ rakes Gulak's face across the edge of the apron. AJ with a kick to the body. AJ rolls Gulak back into the ring and continues an assault. AJ works Gulak in the corner. And then something they haven't done before, and it looks like what they're doing now, is that they implemented the Zoom feature. Somehow someone finally taught Vince McMahon that, hey, there's this app out there that's really popular with people, even though Discord's better. It's called Zoom. You could have talent who aren't in the company, or not there, but you want to keep them in storyline, using the Zoom thing to talk to the announcers or you cut promos and stuff. They did that multiple times throughout this match, asking Daniel Bryan questions of, are there any holes in AJ Styles' game? Did you give any pointers to Drew Gulak before this match, and so on and so forth? Which, that is a good thing. That is great for them to use. I'm tired of seeing Zoom on all my TV shows. If I watch TV, if I change the channel or something, and it's like all these stupid fucking things, you always see somebody with Zoom. It's just so annoying and stuff. I wish people would get over this fucking pandemic bullshit. But AJ bounces Gulak in the middle of the ring. AJ goes on and hits a snap suplex for a 1 count. AJ continues to dominate for a few more minutes, taunting Gulak while punishing him and focusing on the legs. Gulak finally fights back in the middle of the ring as they trade strikes. AJ blocks him and goes for the calf crusher, but Gulak rolls through and comes back up. Takes him into a submission now, and AJ ends up getting free and going to the floor for a breather. As we get later in the match, AJ takes Gulak back down in the middle of the ring, grounding him as the crowd rallies. Gulak picks AJ up out of nowhere and drops him on the top turnbuckle. Gulak with a drop kick and then a third one. Gulak drop kicks AJ into the ropes now, but AJ is still standing. Gulak scoops AJ and drops him on his neck with a modified Michinoku driver. That looked scary. Gulak works over. He got a 2 count on that one. Then he works over AJ over again and climbs up, but AJ counters and sends him face first into the corner. AJ leaps up the corner, but Gulak moves and he hits. AJ comes back with a powerbomb. AJ follows up with a Styles Clash. AJ waits to capitalize. He's like, no, not going to happen that way. We're not going to end the match that way. AJ getting cocky as fuck because he knows that this guy is done. All I have to do is, if I wanted to, I could roll him over, get the pin and the win. But he's like, I'm sending a message that I'm the Intercontinental Champion, and you're going to have to do a lot more than Drew Gulak did in this match to take this title away from me. So he picks Drew Gulak up, puts him him with his head leaning over the top rope, just letting Gulak get a breather in. Goes over the top, onto the apron. Leaps up, hits the phenomenal form. 1, 2, 3. AJ beats Gulak in a pretty good match. Was it better than John Morrison versus Matt Riddle? No. Was it a good match? Yes. Like I said, that's back-to-back great matches on this show. And then it's like, how is WWE going to go from this high to the lowest of the lows? Which... then they advertised, later in the night, we're going to get the toast of Sheamus to Jeff Hardy. And I'm like, oh, well, there it is. we have this major high for this show, and then slowly but surely this is going to creep down, down, down. And we'll get to that entire pathetic storyline later. Now, we see the Women's Tag Team Champion Sasha Banks and Bayley walking on the production truck. They seem to be happy about whatever they're doing. So apparently we're going to get a tribute to Sasha Banks and Bayley right after the break. So then it was advertised that on Monday, because WWE thinks this is something they need to do, we are getting a champion versus champion match between between Bayley and Asuka. Why does this match need to happen? Spoiler, it doesn't. Why do we need to see a champion versus champion match on, 3 days notice? This is something that should have been advertised or built up of last week. Or at least Wednesday, or like I said, Monday. With everything that happened on Monday, you could have did something where it's like, oh, this just in, next week we're going to have Asuka versus Bayley, champions versus champion. But no, we wait till Friday to tell us that this match is going to happen on Monday. Now, of course, this match has already been taped because I believe they taped Raw this Monday on Saturday, and I believe they came back on Monday or Tuesday to tape Raw for next week and then the week after that. I could be wrong. Back from break, and out come the tag team champions. They brag about their past week, but Banks doesn't want to talk about NXT's Great American Bash because, one, she got beat, and two, she got sprayed with poison with the green mist to allow her to get beat. Which I know they have the Great American Bash going next week, and I know they have the women's title match going on next week between Io Shirai and Tegan Nox. I figured we were going to get a tag team match between Asuka and Io Shirai versus the Boston Thug Connection. That didn't happen. So, is that match going to happen? Probably not, but remember, Fight for the Fallen is going to be happening on July 15th. So, it wouldn't surprise me if July 15th comes around, WWE goes with NXT Hog Wild or NXT whatever the hell name they can come up with. That's an old WCW name. And one of the matches is going to be Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai and Asuka. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it would be something that WWE would do. They said, they go on about how no one expects them except for one. Knock knock. Who? Hello? The Undertaker, as Bayley does in her impersonation of Undertaker, recalling how he allegedly called her on her phone and thanked them for paying tribute to him. Taker allegedly went on about he can't wait to see for Banks and Bayley to win Extreme Rules and how he wants WWE to pay tribute to them, and leads us to a video package of the Golden Role Models, as they want to call them. I like Boston Thug better. Even though, yeah, they call them the Golden Role Models, but I'm pretty sure Bayley on last week's episode of SmackDown said that is not their team name. We come back and we come back from that, and they're saying, Sasha's saying, thank you, Bayley. Bayley saying, thank you, Sasha, over and over. They're really becoming obnoxious with each other. Then out come Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. Of course you do, because we don't have any other teams on SmackDown. Here's the thing. The SmackDown, the women's tag team division right now on both brands equals the Moronics, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, and Bayley and Sasha Banks. And that's it. If you think you're going to tell me that Lana and Natalya and anybody and like Ruby Riott are supposed to be something, yeah, no. Those are your three teams. The Moronics, Bayley and Sasha Banks, and Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, until Alexa Bliss turns heel on Nikki Cross because Nikki Cross has a women's title match and she doesn't have it. I can just see that happening. Anyway, Banks dismisses the idea that Cross can beat Bayley, even though... So, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross come out with some papers, and it's like, apparently, Nikki Cross is the Queen of Scotland. She's the 130. She's like the 36th in line for the crown. Nikki Cross says that Alexa Bliss drove over Alaska with a go-kart and some other bullshit, and it's like, I don't fucking care. Just get in the ring and have a fucking match. Alexa Bliss smacks smacks Bayley, and Sasha Banks does what Bayley's been doing to Sasha Banks and makes a match for her between her and Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss accepts, and that is the next match that we have, match number 3 on the night. So, non-title match, Bayley takes down, and then this match I really didn't care about. It ends in disqualification as Cross is being antagonized by Bayley. So she attacks her. She's punching her. The referee calls the bell. After the match, Cross gets in a few shots on Bayley, but Banks pulls it to safety. Bayley joins Banks on the outside as Bliss music hits. Bliss and Cross stand tall in the middle of the ring as the champs taunt. Yeah, I can totally see at Extreme Rules, the horror show, that Alexa Bliss becomes the Alexa Bliss of old, turns on Nikki Cross, leading into SummerSlam, and we get Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Bayley versus Sasha Banks, and on the pre-show, Nikki Cross versus Alexa Bliss. I can see it happening. And then when Sasha Banks wins the Women's Championship, her first challenger is going to be a heel Alexa Bliss, and then Alexa Bliss is going to win the title before, 2 weeks after Sasha Banks wins it, continuing the streak of Sasha Banks holding a singles championship for less than a month. I'm surprised she's still Women's Tag Team Champion. We see a collection of spirit bottles as Sheamus gets ready to raise the toast to Jeff Hardy. Also to come a preview of the Wyatt Family Swamp Street fight. Back to commercial break. Kofi Kingston versus Shinsuke Nakamura. But before that, Corey Graves leads us to a video previewing the Wyatt Swamp fight between Universal Champion Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. They're noting him as the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt. So we have the 3 versions of Bray Wyatt we know of are the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, which we've seen for almost a year. The original Bray Wyatt, the Eater of Worlds, and the Fiend. This, of course, WWE is doing all of this is because Matt Hardy's multifarious gimmick is what is getting over in AEW, and a lot of people are liking to see different versions of Matt Hardy, which I think keeps Matt Hardy fresh. You don't see the same gimmick over and over. He's not bringing into a nostalgia all the time. So that's what we're getting there. So WWE's like, well, we have Bray Wyatt. We know he had this old gimmick. We have this current 2 gimmicks where he's a split personality. Let's do that. So what are they going to do when Matt Hardy eventually brings in Big Money Matt, which he's been teasing on Twitter? Are they going to have Bray Wyatt come out with a new gimmick, or is he going to go back and be Husky Harris? I don't know. Kofi Kingston versus Shinsuke Nakamura. This, of course, was just put together because last week, I believe it was, the New Day got destroyed by these guys. It was 2 weeks ago. Of course, Nakamura and Cesaro have a win over these guys in non-title action. And I'm sitting there and I watch this match and I'm like, so these guys have a win over these two. And these two should have got a tag team title opportunity because everyone else does that. If you win a non-title match against a champion, you automatically get a title match. Nope, not these guys. So I'm thinking, okay, we have Extreme Rules coming up, the horror show. We need matches. So we're going to get Nakamura Cesaro versus the New Day at Extreme Rules if Nakamura wins this match, which, of course, he was going to do. Because WWE is so fucking lazy, they can't come up with anything else other than champion loses to challenger, challenger becomes number 1 contender. I know the Forgotten Sons, which, if I have to say anything, I think having Nakamura and Cesaro be the number 1 contenders over and feuding with the New Day is better than the New Day versus the Forgotten Sons because the Forgotten Sons did nothing in NXT as being a faction of Army rejects. Yeah. No. So, basically in this match, we had themselves they were having a pretty good match. This was like the third best match, of course. Alexa Bliss versus Bayley was the number 4 in the matches. Number 1, of course, was the opener, Matt Riddle versus John Morrison. And, of course, AJ Styles versus Drew Gulak. But halfway through the match, Cesaro gets Jessica Carr, who was the referee in this match, to see that, hey, Big E is doing some shady shit, so he needs to be thrown out. He gets thrown out. Then Cesaro looks like he might not get thrown out, but he gets thrown out as well. Nakamura goes to the floor, beats up on Kofi. Kofi misses a Big Trouble in Paradise attempt, and Nakamura connects with a kick to the face. Kofi kicks out, and Nakamura shows some frustration. Calls for the Kinshasa, and Kofi ducked it. The crowds rally for Kofi again. Kofi goes for the Trouble in Paradise, but it's blocked. Nakamura then goes for a sleeper hold, but Kofi tries to get out of it. Nakamura uses this thing to be able to rake his eyes away from the referee. So he comes back, sliding knee, 1, 2, 3, and gets the win. So after the match, Nakamura stands tall. Cesaro comes back in the ring, stands with Nakamura. Cesaro goes under the ring and brings the table in while Nakamura waits for it. Big E runs down and stops Cesaro from re-entering the ring. He goes in for the big ending, which Cesaro retreats. Big E hits the ring now, and Nakamura retreats to the floor. And that was that. So I'm thinking, well, they pulled the table out, they put it in the ring. We're going to get a tables match at Extreme Rules. Probably a table elimination match, which you could do. That'd be fine. Extreme Rules needs some kind of stipulations, and apparently the only match that has a stipulation so far that we don't know is Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre. We'll find that out on Monday, probably. But then the commentators announced that next week, not at Extreme Rules, the horror show, but next week, we're getting the New Day versus Cesaro and Nakamura. Why is it next week? That's simple, because WWE is going to have this match end in controversy or end in a no contest, or somebody's going to go through a table, and then we're going to get the rematch at Extreme Rules for the tag team titles in a tables match. This is just lazy booking. WWE gets it all the time. They get everything wrong all the time. Then we get announced that next week, Bray Wyatt versus Braun Strowman's match for Money in the Bank will replay on this show for the first time ever on broadcast television. Lazy booking. Also, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross will take on Bayley and Sasha Banks in a non-title match, while the New Day will defend their titles against Cesaro and Nakamura. And then we get to the tasteless and bottom of the barrel shit, drizzling shits for the week in a bar, legit bar. Like, they had a bunch of tables up with so much alcohol in this ring that if WWE wanted to run a bar, they absolutely could. So we go to commercial, we come back, and Jeff Hardy is there waiting for Sheamus. And then we think Sheamus is going to come out, but no. Sheamus is at home. Sheamus is at home, dressed to the nines, looking like he's ready to host a major party. And he's talking about Jeff Hardy being in his elements, being a disgrace, being a junkie. He must have been proud of himself for what he got to do last week. And it's just like, this is so tasteless. This is stupid. Why the fuck are we getting this again? You nixed it last week because you wanted to do that fucking Undertaker tribute, which I'm absolutely fine with. But come on, Vince. This is tasteless. This is pathetic. Vince McMahon obviously doesn't know know the dangers of alcoholism. You put enough alcohol in the ring and had a legit alcoholic who admits it himself, he's an alcoholic, sit there with all of this fucking alcohol in front of him. You gotta be fucking kidding me. This is tasteless. This is pathetic. This needs to be fucking stopped. Vince McMahon should be ashamed of himself. How could you fucking decide that, hey, well, this is good shit to watch on TV. This is what we need to show this is what we need to show the shareholders. We need to show the advertisers that we're doing is we're going to do a PSA of some sorts for everything. And it's like, dudes, this is fucking dumb. Vince McMahon is just an idiot. How stupid could you get? Seriously, how stupid could you get? Oh my god. Well. SmackDown. Now, Sheamus is like, here's a toast, man. And Jeff Hardy's like, oh, what could possibly go wrong? So he grabs a glass that they had a waiter. I don't know who this guy is. I swear I've seen him before. Maybe it was one of the colognes. I'm not sure. But this guy, dressed like a waiter, hands him a glass. It looks like he's going to take a sip. He looks at the guy, takes the glass, and empties it on this guy. So while this guy is trying to, clean himself up or, everything, Jeff grabs a bottle, I don't know what the brand was, and just whacks this guy in the back of the head. I'm sorry, unless that was a sugar glass or something, that is terrible. So he hits the swanton, and that was that. He celebrates with the fans and everything else. This needs to end. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if they're gonna do a bar brawl at Extreme Rules of Horror show, but whatever they're going to do, this needs to be it. This does not need to stretch out to SummerSlam. This is way out of line. This is something WWE should have never even done. And the fact that they're continuing this on. You skipped last week, which was fine. I wish they would have just skipped. They said, you know what? We had a week or two to reevaluate this. This is a terrible gimmick. This is a terrible storyline. Let's just cut it. Let's cut it and go away because it's not right. But again, Vince McMahon is stupid. The show, if I had to cut this up and say, well, the first hour, if we ended at 9 o'clock or 8:45, if we would have ended at 8:45 or 8:50 and said that was all SmackDown tonight, I'm like, this was a damn good episode of SmackDown. God damn, that was fucking great. But then, of course, we had to continue on. The Bayley and Sasha Banks stuff was fine until, of course, Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss got involved. The match with Bayley and Alexa Bliss was who cares? But like I said, if you want to watch an hour of wrestling for Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live, watch the first hour of SmackDown. You won't be disappointed after the Matt Riddle bullshit. You have 2 fantastic matches with 4 guys going out there, giving you their all, and saying, hey, we know we're in a tough time, but here, if you want to sit down and watch some good wrestling, here you go. It was great. Was it on par with stuff that we saw in AEW NXT? Maybe. But it's worth it. After that, you can say, you know what? I've done watching enough wrestling for this week for Raw or SmackDown. I'm going to go watch something else. And the second hour could be cut, and that's all you need to know. But that was your SmackDown review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The Franz Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The Franz Club. Find me on Instagram at The Franz Club. And I will see you guys on Sunday for unscripted episode number 126, where we go over WWE Monday Night Raw. Since Paul Heyman has been removed from his duties, has become a leaderless mess. But that is going to be something we'll talk about then. And WWE's unhappiness with being referenced with the sloppy shop message from Taz. But until then, my name is The Franz, and I'll see you guys later.